Today we're going to work on slope of a line. What does a slope of a line tell you? Well, it tells you the unit rate or the rate of change of a line and its steepness. How can you find the slope of a line on a graph? Well, we have been working on the triangle method in class, where you count the number of units a line moves up over the number of units a line moves to the right. We're going to find another way to do that today. How many different types of slopes are there? Well, we've been focusing on two of the types, positive and negative, but we are going to also learn about the zero slope and undefined slope. Today we're going to focus on using the slope formula. The slope formula is very useful because with the counting method, there's always a chance that we will skip over units while counting, and that would mess up our answer. With the slope formula, we only need 2 points of the line. And I have already highlighted 2 of the points. -4, -8, which is on the bottom left, and 1, 7, which is in the upper right. You can use any point on the line if you wish. So we could have used 0, 4, which is the y-intercept here. Or we could have used a point along here on the bottom, which was -3, -5. So any 2 points on the line we could have used. What I did was label the very first point, -4, -8, as my x1, y1. The second point I label as my x2, y2. Remember, every coordinate must have an x and a y. Once you figure out what 2 points you want to use and you have labeled them, all you have to do now is simply plug them into the formula. So y2 minus y1. So we have 7 minus a -8. x2 minus x1, we have 1 minus a -4. 7 minus a -8 is a positive 15. 1 minus a -4 is a positive 5. 15 over 5 equals 3. So our slope is 3. In other words, for every 3 units up, we move 1 across. 3 units up, 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 1 across. And that's how we find the slope of a line. In this example, we have another blue line. This time the line is going down from left to right. So we should end up with a negative slope. Again, we start with our formula. y2 minus y1 equals over x2 minus x1. Again, we start with the 2 highlighted points. Again, you could use any of the points along this line for this formula. So our 2 points are 2, -8, which is here on the bottom right, and -6, 8, which is up here on the upper left. Again, we're going to label our points. x1, y1 for 2, -8, and x2, y2 for -6, -8. Once again, all we have to do is plug in. We're going to start with our y's. So we have 8 minus a -8 over our x's, -6 minus 2. When we subtract 8 minus a -8, we get 16. -6 minus 2 gives us a -8. 16 over Negative 8 will give us a negative 2. And don't forget your negative signs. So the slope of this particular line is negative 2. With this method, you do not need a graph to find the slope of a line, just any 2 points along that line. So here we have a question where they ask us to find the slope, and all they give us is 2 points. Again, we're going to use the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. First step, we label our points. So our first point is going to be our x1, y1. Our second point is going to be our x2, y2. Next step, plug in everything into our formula. So we have 8 minus a negative 13 and 4 minus a negative 3. 8 minus a negative 13 is 21. 4 minus a negative 3 is 7. 21 over 7 is a positive 3. So our slope is 3. Okay, let's do another one. Again, we have 2 points, negative 4, positive 4, and 4, comma, negative 12. Again, we're going to use the slope formula, so we need to label our points. Once again, all we have to do is plug our points into our slope formula. So we're going to have negative 12 minus 4 over 4 minus a negative 4. 12 minus a negative 4 is negative 16. 4 minus a negative 4 is positive 8. Negative 16 divided by a positive 8 is a negative 2. So the slope of our line is negative 2. That means we're going 2 units down for every unit right. Here we have a word problem. Line 1 passes through the 2 points given, negative 2, negative 8, and 6, 16. Line 2 passes through the points 2, 5, and 8, 5. Find the slope of each line. Which line has the greatest slope? So as you can see, we have 2 set of points about 2 different lines. First thing they want us to do is find the slope for each line. So we're going to take our points for each line and we're going to label them. So we're going to call 2, 5, and 8, 5 for line 2, or x1, x2, x1, y1, x2, and y2. And for line 2, we're going to do the same thing. We have our slope formula. Let's do line 1 first. So we're going to have 16 minus negative 8 over 6 minus a negative 2. That will give us 24 over 8, which equals 3. For line 2, we have 5 minus 5 over 8 minus a negative minus 2. That gives us 0 over 6, which equals 0. Since 3 is bigger than 0, that must mean slope of line 1 is greater than the slope of line 2. So line 1 slope is 3, while line 2 slope is 0. Therefore, line 1 has the greater slope. Let's now look at another word problem. This one is an error analysis, so we have to see where a person made the mistake at. A problem asks the students to find the slope of a line that passes through the points negative 8, 37 and 4, negative 11. Chen says that the slope of the line is a negative 1/4. Find the slope of the line. What error might Chen have made? Again, we're going to start with our slope formula and labeling our points. So negative 837 is our x1, y1. 4, negative 11 is our x2, y2. We're going to plug in our points into the formula. So we get negative 11 minus 37 over 4 minus a negative 8. Negative 11 minus 37 is a negative 48. 4 minus a negative 8 is a positive 12. Negative 48 divided by 12 is a negative 4. Now this is the hard part. You have to analyze and look at what Chen said the answer was compared to the real answer. He said it was negative 1/4. We found out it was a negative 4. What is the relationship between negative 1/4 and negative 4? Negative 1/4 is a reciprocal of negative 4. Remember, reciprocal just means you flipped it upside down. So 1/4 becomes 4 over 1, which equals 4. Or 2/5, its reciprocal is 5 over 2. Again, you flip it over. So Chen's mistake was that he placed the x values on top and the y values on the bottom. The y values is supposed to go on top and the x value on the bottom. The science teacher is showing students a model rocket. The science teacher says for the rocket to be shot correctly, the rise over run should be 8 inches over 3 inches up to straight up, which is vertical, before the launch. The graph shows the slope of the rocket before the launch. Find the slope at which the rocket is being shot. Will the rocket be shot correctly? Okay, let's first discuss what it should be. According to the teacher, as long as the slope is between 8 over 3 or undefined, which is a vertical line. Now we're about to find out why a vertical line is considered undefined. Okay, we take our 2 points from the graph, negative 7, 6, and negative 7, negative 7. We plug them into the slope formula. So we have negative 7 minus 6 over negative 7 minus a negative 7. That will give us a negative 13 over 0. Please note, you cannot divide by 0. If you ever try to divide by 0 on a calculator, it will give you an error message. That's because whenever you divide by 0, the answer is undefined. You cannot divide by nothing. Remember earlier when we came across another graph where 0 was on top. We call that 0 because you can divide into 0. You just cannot divide by 0. So a vertical line is undefined. Since it is an undefined slope, and the teacher said we can use a vertical line, the rocket will be shot correctly. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's think about what we have learned today. Write the expression for the slope of a line using any 2 points. Well, we already said that's the slope formula. And the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now we're going to go ahead and find the slope of the line to the right. Now, just to prove a point, I am not going to use both blue dots. I'm going to use one of the blue dots and the y-intercept just to show you you can find the slope from any 2 points along the graph. Okay, I have marked my y-intercept. The line crosses the y-axis at negative 2. So I'm going to go ahead and use the first point, which was negative 6, 2, and the point that I chose, 0, negative 2. When I plug those points in, I get negative 2 minus 2 for the y's, 0 minus a negative 6 for the x's. Negative 2 minus 2 is a negative 4. 0 minus a negative 6 is a positive 6. 4 over 2 simplifies to 2/3, and a negative divided by a positive makes the whole fraction negative. So our answer is negative 2/3. Now just to prove to you that you can use any 2 points, I'm going to use the 2 points that they highlighted. One being negative 6, 2, and the second point, 6, negative 6. Plug those in. I get negative 6 minus 2 over 6 minus a negative 6. Negative 6 minus 2 is a negative 8. 6 minus a negative 6 is 12. Negative 8 over 12 simplifies to 2/3. And again, a negative divided by a positive is a negative fraction. So as you can see, both answers are the same, irregardless of which 2 points you use.